Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to our final class of the Foundation Course 2 on Buddhist Refuge. I can't believe we're here already, but here we are. Um, so before we get started, please take a moment to call up in your mind as powerfully as you can to feel in your heart your motivation for being here. Wow, you guys are good. I could feel that all the way here. Think about how precious these teachings can be for us with the amount of suffering that exists in our world that we can see in our world and even the amount that we hear about from others who we know or we read about or see in the news. And there's so much more than that doesn't get to the news, that doesn't get to the level of conversation. How many people lost sleep last night because they're worried about something? How many people cry from sadness? How many people are the object of other people's wrath? If suffering had weight, this planet probably couldn't hold it all. It would burst into pieces. And it's all from a simple misunderstanding, thinking that things come from their own side, thinking that the worry that gives us anxiety is something real, is something happening to a truly existent me. That whatever it is that makes us sad is real. Simple mistake. If things were truly existent, they wouldn't change. We're thinking about it from the independent branch point of view. If things were really real, they wouldn't have parts. There wouldn't be an event that triggers sadness. There wouldn't be ebbs and flows to sadness. It would be there all the time, same level. And we look at all the billions of living beings on this planet alone. Trillions, really. We are among the fortunate few. We are so fortunate to have heard these teachings, to understand what's going on, to understand how this mistake causes us to suffer and continue to suffer. But we know a way out. And we want to help others get out as well from this cycle of suffering. May this class, this course, our attendance here, our participation, our study, our meditations, our curiosity about this content, our curiosity about what can provide us protection, really. May it plant the seeds we need to have the realization of not only renunciation, but also bodhicitta, and also the direct perception of emptiness. And may the seeds we plant, may they continue to grow. May we lock them in to bring us the result of becoming totally, perfectly enlightened so we can benefit others. Sashi Buki Jukshi Meto Tram Rira Lingshi Ninde Gempati Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Tam Niryatayami. Sangye Chudan Soki Chuknam La Jangchu Partu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Jin Che Ki Pe Sanam Ki Jola Pinchir Sangye Duparsho Sangye Chudan Soki Chuknam La Changchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Kipe Sunam Ki Drola Pinchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Churan Soki Chuknam La Changchu Bardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Kipe Sunam Ki Drola Pinchir Sangye Druparsho. So, are there any questions from last class? I know it was a very challenging class. And actually, my plan, while you're thinking about a question, my plan is to just go over some important parts after I finish with the content for this class, this 10th class. But if there are any questions in the meantime, please feel free to ask. The world's most perfect students. Today you don't? Well, bravo. All right, let's dive in with this class. And this class will feel like what? Like it's very different from the kind of classes we've had so far in this course. But not to worry, because by the time we get to the end, you'll understand why we're going to talk about, or why we talk about what we are going to talk about. Tonight, we are going, or this afternoon or this morning, we are going to talk about Champa. Champa. Does anyone know what Champa means? Champa is the first name of Maitreya. And Maitreya, as we remember, was the author, or you could say the one who taught the book that we're studying, right? He took a sangha up to his heaven and taught him the jewel of realizations, right? And we're studying Kedrup Dempa Darge's commentary on that book. So Champa means love. It's also my first name. I'm Jampa Utpala. I wanted to be called Jampa, but Geshe Michael said, no, that's a boy's name. I'm like, I don't care. That's okay. No. So I'm Utpala, which is a funny word. Anyway, Jampa means love. It's mitra in Sanskrit. And mitra means friend or loved one. So there are two kinds of love in Buddhism. the kind of one is the kind of love that wants other people to like have the best or to be happy. May you be happy. That's love in Buddhism, not the romantic stuff. It's may you be happy. How can I help make that happen? And then the other kind of love, uh, and we call it compassion, is the kind of love that wants people to be free from any kind of trouble or suffering. So Champa, Maitreya, is the first kind of love. At the beginning, like, don't freak out about this huge amount of Tibetan here. I won't make you say this one. But these are the opening lines of the text that or the teaching that he gave to a Sangha. Niente shiwa tsunam kunshe ni ki nyer shir tri de kangindang. Jola pempar je nam lam she ni ki jikten den drup se batang gang. Kang gang gang da denpe tuk nam nampat kun den not so di sumpa. Niente jang chuk sempa so che sangye ki ni yum de la chaxello. These 4 lines, he's bowing down to, instead of bowing down to Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, which can indicate to us what the topic of the text is, instead of doing that, he bows down to the 3 knowledges: basic knowledge, path knowledge, and omniscience, right? Basic knowledge, remember, is the realization of selflessness by someone on one of the lower tracks, the hearer or the listener. Path knowledge is the realization of emptiness by a bodhisattva. And then omniscience, of course, is, I guess we could call it, part of the wisdom body of a fully enlightened being. So he's bowing down to these 3. These opening lines of a text are they're sort of intended to attract people to study the book. And then, so in this case, the attraction would be to realize selflessness or emptiness and to attain complete and total freedom from suffering and become fully enlightened. So that's like, it's almost the whole path, right? And I don't know about for you, but thinking about what it would be like to be free of suffering, and that would be just amazing. Nothing could ever bother you. Your peace of mind would never be shaken. You'd never be worried or be sad, be irritated. So another reason for writing text, so is not only to inspire people to reach these states of mind themselves, but Dharmakirti, who was a very well-known Indian scholar, sage, he wrote a commentary on Master Dignaga, his teacher, on valid perception or accurate perception. It's called the Pramanavartika in Sanskrit. And at the beginning of his text, he says, I'm not writing this book for anybody but myself. I want to remember what I was taught. So I'm writing this all down. And of course, he would he would do that. But not only that, the second reason to write a book that helps people understand more deeply the Buddhist teaching is to help others, right? And when authors talk about their motivation, it's not just to motivate others to read the book, but to motivate themselves. Because another thing they do at the beginning of a book, authors will say, I will finish this book or I will die. And there are some Buddhist books that die in the middle of a sentence. I mean, that end in the middle of a sentence because the author died. Authors take it very seriously to not start something that could be of tremendous benefit for other people and then not finish it because, oh, well, I want to move on to something else. I mean, we see this if you have been around Geshe Michael at all, we see this in him. He's put out so many books, it just blows my mind. And he's constantly doing it. And you know that he makes this promise or this pledge when he starts work on a text. So there was a great debate that took place about the subject of our class today, about Maitreya. And it was an actual debate. It took place in a Sakya monastery south of Lhasa in Tibet. It was one of the very few libraries that were not burned. Gyaltsab was one of the debaters. And I think he had this habit even before he met his teacher, Jetson Kappa, because he's expert in logic. But he would go around and, like you come upon a monastery, which he used to do quite a bit in Tibet because there were a lot of them. coming up. Compared with the other, there are 4 different sects or schools in Buddhism in Tibet. There's the Sakya, there's the Nyingma, there's the Kagyu. And then after a long period of time came Tsongkhapa and the Gelupas. Many of them have divisions as well, but those are the main sects. So there were a lot of monasteries around even before Tsongkhapa came on the scene. And so Gyaltsab Je would go around and like just walk into a monastery and like, hey, anyone want to debate? Let's talk about the 3 knowledges, And Tsongkhapa did that as well. So Gyaltsab Je was at this Sakya monastery, and he invited 2 scholars there to debate with him. And they were great scholars. And Gelupas, the school founded by Tsongkhapa, have great respect for the other sects of Tibetan Buddhism. And in fact, the text that we study, not only in this course series, but also if you advance into or if you go on into the Diamond Way teachings, you'll see that we rely on texts by great scholars of other sects like Sakya and Kagyu and Nyingma. So anyway, he was debating with these 2 great scholars. One of them had written a 12-volume text. So, the Tibetan books are long pieces of paper in between 2 boards. So 12 volumes like this on a 50-page text. He had far more to say about the topic than did the original author. So they went into a debate about who is Champa? Who is Maitreya? When you read sutras, you hear about Maitreya, you hear about Manjushri, you hear about Avalokiteshvara. They were all Bodhisattvas who were attending teachings of the Buddha. Once I heard this teaching, and Avalokiteshvara, for example, in the Heart Sutra, he's the one who speaks the Heart Sutra. After Shariputra asked the question, how should a bodhisattva think? How should a bodhisattva speak? How should a bodhisattva act? And Avalokiteshvara answers him through the power of the Buddha, as a holder of the teachings of the Buddha. He spoke. So who is Maitreya? We read in Sutra that he is a bodhisattva, very high level bodhisattva, 10th level bodhisattva. But in the higher teachings, this is a little advanced Diamond Way information. The Diamond Way materials, he is considered a Buddha. And we could think about why that is. Why is a person basically considered two different kinds of beings, right? A high level bodhisattva is still a human, whereas a fully enlightened Buddha is an entirely different creature. He he may emanate or appear to us as a human being, but he has a body made of light. He can be here on earth and in his paradise at the same time. That's not a normal human being activity. He can spontaneously emanate whatever will help us if we have the karma to be helped. Then the debate wasn't about uh, whether or not Champa was a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. The debate that they had was, does Champa aspire anymore? Does Champa have the wish to become totally enlightened in order to benefit other living beings? Does Champa have the aspiration or the motivation to fulfill his own needs? So those two questions put more directly. Number one, does Champa have an aspiration, bodhicitta, basically? And second, does Champa have a state of mind in which he wants to fulfill his own needs? Because they say that Buddhas not only fulfill their own needs, but they fulfill the needs of others, right? So Gyaltsab asked this question, and on the debate ground, you just answer yes or no to questions. So the Sakya said, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have the aspiration to fulfill his own needs. And just to say, you may have heard this already, but when people debate, it's not to it's not for the purpose of like, oh, I'm smarter than the other guy, you know? It's not like the one who wins the debate is smarter or better. Although in some cases, if someone's successful in debate, you know, the Buddhist teachings stay in Tibet. There was an instance when that happened. But people debate. When people debate, they're seeking the truth about something. Both parties are engaged in seeking the truth. Both parties are participating in finding truth. Uh, so this isn't a Sakya Galupa thing. It's not what do you call it? It's not sectarian like that. These were monks, scholars who were looking for truth. So then Gyaltsab says, after they say no, he doesn't have the wish to fulfill his own needs. Gyaltsab says, well, are you saying that because you think Champa is a Buddha? Or are you saying that because you think Champa is a Bodhisattva? Are you saying that on the basis of believing Champa is a Buddha? Or are you saying it on the basis of thinking Champa is a Bodhisattva? That's the way the debate really starts. The Sakyas say he doesn't aspire to fulfill his own needs. And Gyaltsab responds in an interesting way. He says, well, I guess you mean either a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. So I'll cover both. One of those split logical statements. I'll prove to you that he does aspire to fulfill his own needs. Either way, whether he's a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. So the two ways that it could go is, okay, either he's a Buddha, and he no longer needs to aspire to fulfill his own needs because he already has. That's one of the things they say about a fully enlightened being. And the other way it could go is that he's a bodhisattva. And he doesn't aspire to fulfill his own needs. He wants to benefit all living beings. He wants to fulfill other people's needs. That's what drives him to reach total enlightenment. So we start off with the Buddha. Gyaltsab says, if you say that Champa is a Buddha, then you have a very serious problem. He says, I guess you haven't had very serious study of the Mahayana. You know, the consequence branch people. We've had our independent branch hat on, but those consequence branch people, they love to put forward absurd consequences of a person's position, sort of shock them into taking a second look at their position. I mean, the person's a scholar, right? One of the monks there is a scholar. It's written a huge commentary on a text. Oh, I guess you haven't studied the subject much. Because why? Because you fail to distinguish between tunmongilam and tunmong mayimpelang. Tunmong mayimpelang. Lam, we've seen before many times. It means path. And this ma is a negative. So tunmong means shared. Shared. So he's saying, you fail to distinguish between the path which is shared and the path which is not shared or is unique. So, what does that mean? Shared and not shared. The shared teachings are the open teachings, the non-secret teachings. Sometimes they're called sutra. Sometimes they're called the way of the perfections. You can say it either way. Some call them the non-secret teachings. And why are they called shared? They're shared between, in this case, that what we're speaking about is they're shared between between those who even you could wish to become a Buddha, and you can get all the teachings that you need to reach that state of being in the open teachings. The open teachings, the Bodhisattva path is an open teaching. And the Diamond Way teachings, the secret teaching, the difference, they're shared with those who are practicing the Diamond Way. And, what is the Diamond Way? We can't talk much about it, but if you're not on the Diamond Way path, it's going to take, did we talk about this? I think we did early on. It's going to take a really long time. Like, what is it? 300 countless eons? Kalpa in Tibetan, Kalpa. Versus the Diamond Way. This is the Diamond Way practitioners are so desirous of becoming totally, perfectly enlightened in order to benefit all living beings. They can't wait. They cannot wait. The suffering of others that is based on a misunderstanding is unacceptable to them. They want to become enlightened as soon as possible. And it's possible to do it in one life. But the thing, what makes them shared, the teaching shared, is that the Diamond Way relies on the open teachings. Those who practice the Diamond Way must be knowledgeable about, must be, and more than that, must be practicing the teachings that are shared. All three kinds of teachings. There's another way to divide the teachings into, teachings for those who want to have a good rebirth, their next rebirth, not in the lower realms. There's the motivation to leave the cycle of suffering altogether. And then there's also those who want to become totally enlightened. And all of those teachings, regardless of what motivation a person has, all of those teachings are critical to the realization of a person, whether they want to just be born as a human next time, or they want to reach nirvana, or they want to reach total and perfect enlightenment. Uh, to practice the Diamond Way, well, we're going to get to this part later. We will revisit how they're shared. So the open teachings, if you took course 1 with me, you know that basically these are the 3 principal paths. The first path is, and here path means realization in the mind. The first path is renunciation. It's sort of a disgust with worldly life, but it's more disgust with how we wrongly interact with things and people around us. And by acting wrongly, I mean thinking that they come from their own side, that they have some quality. It's either a quality that I like normally, or a quality that I don't like normally, or that I'm neutral about. That whatever that quality is, that makes me happy to be around somebody, or wanting to get as far away from them as possible, that quality comes from the person or the thing, not from me. So that's the wrong way. So with renunciation, it's giving up the idea that anything or any person is the way they are, independent of my seeds ripening, of the seeds that I planted by how I treated others. That's renunciation. You can still enjoy pizza. Just realize you enjoy the pizza because you gave pizza to somebody else in the past. You planted the seeds to enjoy pizza. And then the next of the 3 paths is bodhicitta, the wish to become totally and fully enlightened in order to benefit all living beings. And then the third is emptiness, the direct perception of emptiness. Seeing directly in a state of deep meditation that something, and it's usually when we see it directly, it is the something is my self nature being me. We see directly that me has no quality from its own side. We see there's the absence of possessing a quality from my own side, this me that I'm so attached to, right? So those are those 3 paths. are the shared paths, and they contain within them like all of the Buddhist open teachings are contained in those three. That's why it's such an extraordinary text. Jetson Kappa is brilliant, brilliant. So if a person doesn't have Goa Chakpa, uh, which means a good understanding of the principles of the teachings, a good understanding of the three principal paths. They don't have to have renunciation. They don't have to have bodhicitta. They don't have to have perceived emptiness directly in order to practice the Diamond Way. But they must have Goa Chakpa. They must have a good, solid understanding of these principles. It's another reason why this course series is so important, because we can get a good, correct understanding. And we have people around us whom we can ask questions of, even though you are sometimes reticent to do so. You can rely on friends to help you understand more deeply and correctly what these principal teachings are. Okay. So Gyaltsab Je said to the person he's debating, well, what if you say Maitreya is a Buddha? If you do that, you're failing to make a distinction between the shared teachings and the secret teachings. Teachings which are shared and the Diamond Way teachings. So he's talking about Sutra and Tantra, another way to think about Sutra. So the ornament of realizations is an open teaching. So the implication, a shared teaching. The implication is that Maitreya, who wrote the ornament of realizations, is a bodhisattva. Because Gyaltsab Je said to the Sakya scholars, if you say he's a Buddha, you have failed to distinguish between when we're talking Diamond Way and when we're talking open, shared teachings. Because when we're talking open teaching, the implication is that he's not a Buddha. So that's the next thing he has to prove, Gyaltsab Je. He has to prove why is he a bodhisattva? This is not on your homework, but it's good to know so that the logical flow makes sense to you. There are a couple of reasons. Maitreya wrote another book called the Uttara Tantra, which is not a tantra, but it's a fascinating book about enlightenment, actually. What it's like to be a Buddha, which is now very interesting. But in that text, he said, I'm writing this book, Maitreya said, I'm writing this book so I can purify my shade drips. I can purify my obstacles to omniscience. So that's Maitreya saying, I'm still a bodhisattva. I'm a bodhisattva. I'm not a Buddha, right? I, I'm doing this so I can purify my obstacles to omniscience. He happens to be on the 10th level. And also he happens to be a Sechiktopa, which means he's in his last life as a human being. He will become, in this life, he will become a Buddha, fully enlightened Buddha. So the proof is Maitreya himself said that he had obstacles to omniscience. So he must be a bodhisattva. Then there's another proof, which is that in a sutra, which you'll see in your reading, the Buddha basically says to someone who's asking him a question, oh, don't ask me that. Go ask Maitreya. He's the bodhisattva who's on the 10th level and has one more life to go. Go ask him. So that's another proof that he's a bodhisattva. So the Sakyas say to Gyaltsab that he has, Maitreya, has no intention of fulfilling his own needs, no desire to fulfill his own needs. Gyaltsab says, why? Are you thinking he's a Buddha? Is that why you're saying he has no aspiration to fulfill his own needs? But if you say he's a Buddha, you're on the wrong track. You're in the wrong system. These aren't secret teachings. We're talking open teachings. We're talking the ornament of realizations. So if that's why you think he doesn't have any intention of fulfilling his own needs, then you're just wrong. You shouldn't have brought it up. This isn't the place. We don't talk about secret things in an open forum. We're talking open teachings. And then Gyaltsab brought up, well, and then he's not, and then he is a bodhisattva because he said himself he has to remove his obstacles to omniscience. So apparently you failed to distinguish between what's an open teaching and what's a secret teaching, what's shared and what's not shared. What's the appropriate time to talk about Diamond Way? And what's the appropriate time to not talk about Diamond Way? So now let's just recall it. What are the two parts of bodhicitta? Do you remember? It has two parts. There's the wish to become totally, fully, completely, perfectly enlightened. And then in order to benefit all living beings. Those two things. Those two parts. So Gyaltsab says now, now suppose you say Maitreya is a Buddha. Are you telling me that that definition of bodhicitta doesn't fit? He doesn't have any desire for total, complete, perfect enlightenment? And the Sakyas respond, well, of course he wants total enlightenment. We talked about the bodies of a Buddha earlier, and there are different ways to, people say either there are two bodies, or there are three bodies, or there are four bodies. Let's just keep it to two bodies, which two bodies, generally speaking, form body, the body in his paradise, or the body that he emanates on earth, and then Dharmakaya, the wisdom body, which is omniscience and the wisdom that realizes emptiness, that sees emptiness always. So I think we talked about this before too. That the form body, the physical body, although physical for a Buddha is light, right? The physical body is primarily for the benefit of others. He emanates the Choki Tulku, the highest emanation body. Chok here means high. He emanates the highest body, the one that has the bump on the head and long ears and the single strand in the middle of his forehead, single strand of hair that goes on forever, the signs of the wheel on his hand. That body appears on earth and directly teaching people, all kinds of people, not just ordinary people, but bodhisattvas are hanging out there. Nagas or dragons also show up in the audience. A whole mix of people he's helping in that body. And then even his paradise body, the body that is up in his paradise, he's surrounded there by 10th level bodhisattvas. They don't live there all the time, but they spend a lot of time up there with a fully enlightened being and talking about, the teachings. And that would be fun, right? That would be really fun. Like a Dharma parlor. Spend all day and night talking Dharma. So even there, while he's in his paradise body, his main form body, he's still teaching. He's teaching 10th level bodhisattvas. So the form body is mainly for the benefit of others. And then the wisdom body, the Dharmakaya, that's mainly for his benefit. The reason why they say that the Dharmakaya is mainly for his benefit is that wisdom alone, omniscience alone, doesn't benefit others. benefiting others takes some sort of physical form. Wisdom can't teach. A form body can teach, right? So they say that the Dharmakaya is for fulfilling the Buddha's own needs. In the teachings of Lam Rim, in the Lam Rim Chenmo, Tsongkhapa's text, the great gradual steps to enlightenment, where Tsongkhapa lays out from like beginning, first being introduced to the Buddha's teachings, all the way up through becoming fully enlightened yourself. The journey we go through, the realizations we have, in the step-by-step way. So it begins with serving our teacher, finding and serving our teacher. And one of the reasons for having reverence for our teacher is because our teacher is our conduit to the Buddha. I don't have a Buddha, Nirmanakaya, coming to me and teaching me. My teacher serves that role. Without my teacher, I would have no connection to the Buddha. My teacher very well might be a Buddha, but he doesn't look like one. He doesn't have a bump on his head and long ears and the wheel in his palm. He appears to me as an ordinary being, someone like me, just another human being, so that I can connect with him enough so that I get the teachings from him. So the teacher is like the only door to an enlightened being are our teachers. And if we don't respect them, it's like we're closing the door on the Buddha. We're creating some obstacle for ourselves in receiving teachings. That's how it's described. So when we aspire for total and complete enlightenment, we're aspiring to have the two bodies, form body and the wisdom body. So Gyaltsab Je responds to the Sakyas and says, "Are you inventing some new kind of bodhicitta? some new kind of wish, some wish where you don't want to have the two bodies. And the Sakyas are like, what? Why are you asking me this? That's crazy. I ask because you're positing a wish for enlightenment that doesn't care about fulfilling its own needs. Now, a bodhisattva could be, uh, well, a Buddha is a bodhisattva, right? They are called a bodhisattva, but they're normally talked about as two different kinds of, two distinct kinds of beings. There's the Jangchup Sempa, bodhisattva, and a Sangye, a fully enlightened Buddha. So we're at the part in the debate where even if Maitreya is a Buddha, he still has the desire to fulfill his own needs. It's not uh, it's not like wrong to want to fulfill your own needs. And you never lose that desire to fulfill your own needs. So just to talk about it again, the bodhicitta has two parts: the wish to become fully enlightened, and the second part, in order to benefit all living beings. And the first part, the wish to reach full enlightenment, is to fulfill your own needs. No, I said that wrong. So that it's the bodhicitta has two parts, right? The wish to become totally enlightened and the wish to benefit others. When you become totally enlightened, you'll have two bodies: form body, wisdom body. And the form body is primarily to benefit others, right? To teach. And the wisdom body is primarily for your own benefit. So if you say that uh, a bodhisattva has bodhicitta, right? Has the wish to attain total enlightenment in order to benefit others. So we can't say that Maitreya is not interested in his own needs because he's a bodhisattva. Because he has bodhicitta. He wants to reach total enlightenment. Reaching total enlightenment results in these two bodies, which fulfills his needs and fulfills the needs of others. It's not contradictory. to want to fulfill your needs and fulfill the needs of others. Geshe Michael told a funny little, I don't know what you call it, a saying, a truth. One of his first teachers said, when you plant corn, you get weeds. So planting corn means becoming enlightened, fulfilling the needs of others, right? Being able to help them finally. That's planting corn. The weeds, they come up anyway. They're gonna appear, and that's fulfilling your own needs. If you plant corn, you're also gonna get weeds. So it's not like it's not wrong or selfish to want to. It doesn't take away from anybody if you want to fulfill your own needs. Because fulfilling your own needs actually makes it possible through the form body to help others. Okay. So the last part of the debate, and this is when some, I don't know, some householder walks by and joins the debate or something like that. And they say, well, I don't know why you're talking about the secret teachings, because the open teachings, though, they don't think that the secret teaching, the Diamond Way teachings are valid, because the secret teachings aren't even mentioned in the open teachings. And there are some Buddhists who say that the secret teachings are not valid. Some people who call themselves Buddhists who say that the secret teachings are not valid, that the Buddha never spoke them. But Joseph J. has a response. There's a commentary by Hari Bhadra, an Indian scholar, that mentions the secret teachings, and it's in your reading. So you will have a direct perception of Hari Bhadra's teaching, which is an open teaching where he mentions the secret teachings. What he's teaching about, he says, it is also valid for the other side of the teachings, meaning the secret teachings. And then there's a text that mentions Dharmakirti that says Tantra exists, the secret teachings exist, because the miracles described in the secret teachings exist. And this is the miracle he's talking about, is being able to fly. So Dharmakirti is giving, he's basically a scholar of logic, which is an open teaching, shared teaching, open teaching. And he says, he describes why Tantra exists and why it works. So here is someone who's thought of as a lower way scholar, who's saying that Tantra exists and describes why it works. So in his commentary on accurate perception, where he's writing from a Hinayana point of view, a lower vehicle point of view, but also he's sneaking in some greater way teachings. He says there do exist the ones who know the secret teachings and can, in cases, use the secret words or mantras with success. There is, those are the proof. That's the proof. He was debating someone who said that Om, the word Om, the sacred syllable Om, is uncaused. So Dharmakirti was responding to him in that. So Dharmakirti says, the miracles from Tantra are, they can include like flying in the sky. But the main miracle is reaching total and complete enlightenment in this life, in one life. Reaching paradise before you die. He says that it relies on two things. Oh no, there it is, right. The first one is ngak son papoi tu. Ngak son papoi tu. And that means that the teachings are given by a very holy being. That the secret or the Diamond Way teachings are given by a very holy being. Not only the teachings, but also the empowerment, the permission to practice those teachings. Basically, the quality of the teacher is mainly related to your ability to be successful in the practice of the Diamond Way. And then the second part is Ngang De Papoy Tsultrim, which means that the practitioner is leading a very pure life. They are keeping their vows, not only their pratimoksha vows, like their refuge vows, but their bodhisattva vows and their tantric vows. They're keeping them very purely. That's how the practice of the secret way can result in becoming totally, fully enlightened in this life. It says in the teachings that the success of practicing the Diamond Way is mainly the power of the one who taught it, the one who gave the vows. But that word mainly is very important. It's what we call a mayingak. This is a logic term And when you say mainly, it means they want you to think about what the other part is. So they say mainly the quality of the teacher, but the mayingak, what they're saying without saying, is that it's the purity of your own practice. Your teacher can be pure, holy, enlightened, even. But if you're not keeping your vows purely, it ain't gonna work. It just won't. So it's a mayingak, it's an unspoken emphasis on uh, the need for the Diamond Way practitioner to keep their vows purely. Oh, I only left myself 4 minutes. I apologize. You have to receive this from someone who likes to talk a lot. Um, really, and we can still talk in the chat. There are things I will answer in the English chat, and maybe um, if the live translators would be so kind as to uh, translate, or you can try Google. We'll see. Um, but there are just a few things I want to say about the neither one nor many meditation. But I'll do that in the Telegram chat or the WhatsApp chat. So thank you for taking this course. Thank you for your participation and your practice. Uh, you are all a great inspiration to me that you sit through. Like, I'm not sure how many of you even understand my language, but you have the amazing, great good fortune to have people who can, while I'm speaking, share with you what I'm saying in a language you can understand. That alone is evidence of your incredible good fortune, your amazing goodness. I'm honored to be with you. Thank you. So please, uh, thank you, live translators. Thank you, Geshe Michael. So let's dedicate. Actually, no, let's not. We're gonna not dedicate this time, just because there's a tradition to leave something undone at the end of a teaching so that you have a reason to come back together in the future. So please dedicate after our course. And then we can come together, and in the next course, I will try my very best to end on time. Next course will be course 4. But do, when you dedicate, think, bring to mind as strongly as you can your motivation for taking this course, and uh, and dedicate it towards total and complete enlightenment, so that the karma continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. It won't get wasted on some momentary pleasure. I love you. Thank you so much. This is like the best part of my week. Every week, I really, really enjoy doing this. And I hope I see you again soon.
Thank you so much, teacher Upala.
Thank you so much, teacher. Bye bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a good day. See you soon.
Достопочтенная дорогая Утпала, драгоценный самородок, оставайтесь с нами, обучайте нас. Мы вас любим.
Oh, and it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. I don't know if you celebrate Valentine's Day in your country, but we do here. We give each other candy and roses to people we love. So I send you all candy and roses. May you be happy forever and ever. May you be free of suffering.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, see you in April.
Yeah, see you again soon.